So yeah, I'm Darius, ESLC's Communications Manager. So we're just gonna, sit around here a bit today and talk a bit about ESLC's future, what we see coming ahead, things we enjoy working with each other within the communities that we serve, and just let it flow. So, David, just don't mind introducing yourself,
Sure.
Telling a little bit about what you do, and yeah, just a little intro.
So I'm Dave Satterfield, and Land Program Manager. Been here a little over 3 years. Started out at the bottom, moved my way to the top, and take care of all of our conservation work. So protecting the land easements and stewardship and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of work.
Lauren?
I'm Lauren Halterman. I've been here about 2.5 years, and I'm the Director of Advancement, and I do fundraising, so David can save all the land.
Thanks, Lauren.
Yes, thanks, Lauren. I'm Carol Bean. I'm the agricultural specialist here. So I've been here about 1.5 years, and I'm working with our local farmers, trying to encourage new farmers to get access to farmland, making connections between our local food system and consumers, and just general ag education.
I'm Jim Bass. I'm the Coastal Resilience Program Manager, which means I'm the climate change guy. Eastern Shore of Maryland is the nation's third most vulnerable region to the impacts of sea level rise. And so we've got our work cut out with us, particularly keeping in mind our land protection efforts in DELMARVA OASIS.
Awesome. So obviously this is the first time that a lot of us have been here, together, since March?
Yeah,
It's nice.
Yeah.
it's great.
So I want to just kind of start things off with just asking everybody to share, what do you enjoy most about being able to work together for ESLC, with our mission and, where we're from, what all connects us to this place, what do you enjoy most about it? So anybody, just feel free to jump in.
So I think for a lot of people, when they think about conservation, it's more like, reservations, or, that it's more sort of a passive use of the landscape. And so I appreciate the opportunity to talk about how important it is for a rural region to have a working landscape, that the farming traditions and the fishing traditions of our region not only are part of what make this area so special, but that keeping those as vibrant industries is part of what keeps a rural character and keeps the open space and other things that environmentalists would sort of think of and embrace.
I just really enjoy the passion and intellect that everybody has here. I really wasn't as passionate for the Eastern Shore when I graduated from Washington College in 2015, so I moved away. And then I came back wanting to really get closer to that passion and just what it meant to be here. And if I had any other job, I really doubt that my passion would be as strong for Eastern Shore as it is right now. But come to a place where, I have over a dozen people working towards the same mission for the same place, same communities. I mean, it's going to really instill that passion in you.
We talked about the passion that we have here, but we see it with all the people who support us and our donors and our board. It's not just writing checks and it's not just showing up to board meetings. It's really taking an interest in what we do, helping to make connections, helping to be advocates and push our message forward, because it's something they care about. It's where we live. It's our community.
Right.
I think I'm in a unique position with our climate change work in that I'm one of the threads of Eastern Shore Land Conservancy that kind of ties together all of the different pieces of the organization. Climate change is something that is going to impact every single different facet of our work. And so even if we have pieces of the organization that don't regularly touch one another in a really close way, I'm sort of the lens through which we are looking at the future, I think. So as we think about land protection, as we think about opportunities for farmers, as we think about building strong towns and resilient communities, we've got to think about all of it with the impacts of climate change in mind.
I grew up on the shore. My family was a hunting, fishing family, grew up on a farm. So the connection to what we do here at ESLC was very easy. Even my family has an easement under our portfolio as well. So, it was a nice, easy connection to get here. And my passion for wildlife and protection of wildlife habitat just was an easy translation for me. So this is definitely something that I have a huge passion for. You know, I want our community to flourish, and you know, at the same time, I also want it to be the way it was when I grew up, because I enjoyed it that way. So I want my grandchildren to be able to do that too.
Right.
It's all about supporting the community, and it's all
Right.
about making a positive difference, and it's all about preserving this really cool, special place that people are fortunate to have grown up with. And I hope that people for generations to come have that same opportunity.
Don't really see many organizations that do such great work within communities and for communities like Shore Land Conservancy. Even though land protection is its bread and butter, it was still devoted to the communities and making sure people prosper. So that just really stuck out to me, and I just feel like the Eastern Shore needs more organizations, more groups of people, you know, kind of working in that way, just understanding the diversity in all of our communities and all the beliefs and the ways of living that we all have from county to county, and just taking a broad approach to support all of that. I don't really see much of that happening, so it's a cool place to be.
You know, people are more engaged with the organizations that they want to support. In a very similar way, people are more engaged at a hyper-local level about the awareness of climate change and climate impacts. And, you know, it kind of sucks being quarantined in your own home for months and months and months on end. But, like, when you spend months and months in your own home, you really start to know your own home and your own backyard. And it's amazing you know, like at the beginning, everybody was doing sourdough bread, right? And like, we've got more people gardening right now than we've had since like immediately after World War II, right? So like, there are trends in people, you know, taking care of their own space, their own physical space, their own land, their own property in a little bit different way. People are, I know from inquiries that I've gotten in conversations that I've participated in, people are asking questions about, like, at the block level, at the neighborhood level, what can I be doing to manage precipitation differently? Or I'm concerned about sea level rise, how is this going to affect my neighborhood in the future? People are really, really engaged at the type of level that we want them to be focused about. It's great to be thinking globally, but like, if we're going to make a difference, it really needs to be grassroots. It really needs to start literally right in our own backyard. And the fact that more people seem to be thinking from that perspective, I think, is one of the great things that's come out of this pandemic situation.
Oh, yeah.
I think, you know, this situation has laid bare some pretty, you know, hard truths, and I think you're right. There's some opportunities and things that come out of it, and I think, you know, for me, I think I had this awareness just because of my background, but it was, you know, interesting for me to see things like food security and food access and a regional food system, that those, maybe people don't necessarily talk about it in those terms, but those concepts, that there was such an incredible awareness about those issues, both what's sort of working, you know, all of our farmers markets that were able to sort of pivot and be able to be open, and I think that awareness that those were deemed, you know, like, what is an essential service? I think that was something that really sort of came out of all this immediately. Like, what's essential, and you know, food and food production is up at the top of the list there, you know. I mean, and so hopefully that will galvanize people into coming up with some creative solutions to some of the issues that we've known exist for a long time, but that maybe the progress and figuring out a more progressive way and a more sustainable way hasn't been maybe moving at the speed with which you would hope. So I think that there's those opportunities. There's just a greater awareness of those things and the impact in your own sort of personal life. And for me, just that recognition from people of how important your farmers are. Like, that's your food on your table for your family, and it doesn't get more essential than that.
And I mean, I know I've been struggling sometimes here and there just to keep up with all the things that we can, be communicating about during these times. But the thing that's really stuck out to me is just how important it is just to tell stories. Whether it's like an organization that you work for or like, a club that you're a part of, everybody's just into telling stories right now. And it's given me a stronger perspective of how important it is for ESLC to keep telling ours. So, how we're sitting here talking now, the interviews that we've done over the past few weeks is getting stories from people. And I'm like, this is all gold that, we have so many of these stories that we don't get out enough. So I'm just spinning my head about how can we just keep on doing that so we can let the public know what we do and, just get more support for the work that we do.
Well, I mean, from the land perspective, I think there are two big things that we're going to have to be thinking about for the upcoming years. One of them, COVID's really taught people they want to get out and do things. They want to go to parks. They want to take their kids on a trail. And so ESLC needs to be thinking about, like, how can we increase public access? Do we need to be involved more with program open space to build new parks like the Ben Lee Park we did or the one up in Cecil County we did? I think that's going to be a major desire of people moving ahead. So that's definitely something we're going to have to move into. Conversely, there's going to be an urgency to our DO work because, people are seeing that most of the infections are being caused in the cities and they're thinking about moving to the country. They want to be in the smaller towns and the wide open spaces. And so it's more important now than ever for us to be protecting the resources, protecting the food security, protecting the natural resources and the habitat than it ever has been. Because I think we're going to see people from the Western Shore, from Philly or wherever, coming over here and trying to be part of this community. I think we have a great opportunity to really make change and protect what is here, but also help it to grow and be enhanced.
But can we go back to something you just said?
Sure.
So you said a really big number, 764. So that's Maryland, Delaware, and Virginia.
It's everybody, yes. Everybody.
And so Maryland, in our section, we're about 30%
Somewhere between 27 and 30%
preserved.
depending
And
on
then
the data.
Delaware and Virginia are
Delaware is around the same as we are, about 25 to 30%, and Virginia is about 40 to 41%.
okay. So when you say that big number, because I remember hearing that the first time and hearing the price tag and was like, oh my gosh. But we're not starting from zero. So we're
good.
we're 25 to 30% towards our 50%. So we're in good shape. But we have our work cut out. We did that and we did our piece of it in 30 years. We just need to work faster and harder.
Well, we also got to remember we're not doing this alone.
Right.
We have
some
tons
great
of partners. And we're obviously looking for more partners to make it happen. Whether that's the financial burden or whether that's new people to do the work. I think the more partnerships we have, the easier that goal is going to be for us.
Right.
So I think the special thing about ESLC is it's a platform for really anybody who loves what the Eastern Shore is about to connect with. Mm-hmm. And we've always had that welcoming type of environment.
Right.
I mean, it just speaks volumes to the people that support us, that come to our events, that watch our videos, that like our Facebook posts, that walk through this building. It goes a long way. The more that we broaden that message, the more that we're just going to get people hopping on this train that's going to get deal accomplished.
Yeah. Well, that's it, dude. Like, it's right there on the banner behind you. Land, towns, people. Yeah. That's everything.
It is.
That is the Eastern Shore. And I think it's so anybody can see themselves in something that ESLC touches.
Right.
That's a cool organization to be a part of.
It is.
Here we are getting ready to have our virtual party to preserve, and everybody is stuck with us, and we have loyal supporters who are interested, I think, in what they're going to see, but also just really want to support us, and it's been just a joy to see people stick by us. So
totally.
Thank you. We do appreciate you all.
Thank you.
Oh yes. Well, speaking of support, it takes me to my next question. So, if you had $25,000 donated to your program or department in unrestricted
have one.
funds.
Oh yeah.
I got you. Unrestricted. What would you do?
Say
This is
thank.
fun. Cheers.
We could say
Hey.
thank you.
Cheers. Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.